Good morning, good afternoon. This is Guru here back from Bangalore. Today I'm gonna do talk about more on AWS S3. So AWS S3 means S3 stands for Simple Storage Services. It is one of the services in the AWS, and let's begin with S3. So S3 is just an object based storage. S3 services is a global. Whenever you go to the AWS console, you can see S3 as a global. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna log into the console, AWS console, and ensure that I'm using an admin account. And so if you see the billing or any other thing, it will be a global. Okay, so let's begin with S3. So either you can go like this, or on the history whatever I accessed before, you can. Okay, so let's begin with S3. As you know that the service is global. See, whenever you go and do the S3, the the service is a global. And in S3 mainly, like, you can only upload the files, download or access it, and the files in S3 cannot be executed. For example, if you want to install any of the file which is in S3, it is not possible because it is just an object based storage, and it can store only the stored flat files. So you can't install, you can't do anything other than accessing, uploading and downloading. And you cannot install DB or OS like your boot drive, so you can't install any of the executable file in the S3. So you cannot attach S3 to EC2 instances, but in its reverse, it's possible. I'm going to say you can access S3 from EC2 instances, and S3 is unlimited storage. You can upload unlimited. I'm going to say the S3 is unlimited storage. You can store n number of files or folders or anything. S3 supports static website. That is one a very good thing. Like, you can just create your own website and you can host the static website by using S3. And definitely S3 is much cheaper than EC2. S3 is a serverless architecture. In S3, the durable is long time. So the durability of the files you can access in a long time, and the availability is high, and you can access any time. And basically, S3 is a simple key value store designed to store as many as objects as you want, and you can store these objects in one or more buckets, and each buckets can be up to 5 terabytes, 5 TB. Okay, so I was talking about the bucket, and what do you mean by bucket? So bucket is a container for objects. Okay, so buckets, when you open a bucket to create any bucket, it is regional. If you see here on the right side, you can see when I just opened S3, and you can see the buckets, and buckets are global. Oh, sorry, I'm just buckets are regional. When you open S3, S3 is global, but whereas when you create any bucket, it is regional, region specific. It is not global, but you can create anywhere in any region. Okay, so buckets are universal and unique. For example, when you're creating a name for the bucket, you can't give, for example, if someone used already test or someone used any name, so that cannot be used again. And bucket under bucket creation is not at all possible, and no nested buckets. You can create multiple buckets in different regions. That's what I told you before. And maximum buckets at one time you can create 100. By default, buckets are private. If required, buckets can be public. So that I'm going to show you how to do that. See, for example, first thing is when you go to the S3 bucket, when you launch this service, um you have the look and feels like this. Either you can go to the new switch to new console, or you can use the old look and feel. Okay, so first thing is just go, and as of now I don't have any bucket created under my S3, so I'm gonna create a bucket. Okay, so as I told you, buckets are universal and unique. So if I create test, see, bucket name is already exist. I mean, someone has already used it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is my AWS bucket, and see, if I use, I cannot add uppercase information for any bucket. So the bucket name should be always lowercase. So my AWS bucket, I'm going to name it as this. Okay, so let's create in Mumbai region, and I'm not using any of the existing bucket because I have not created anything. So don't click on create, rather than that just click on next. Let's see what and all options we can see when we are creating a bucket. So when you click on the create, basically what it does means it will take by default whatever the settings. So we don't require that. I mean, it is possible, but it will take a default setting, so we can just go to in our own way. So I'm going to say the bucket name I've created, the region I've selected, and just click on next. Oh, see, this is also someone used. Okay, 20,020, 2022. Perfect, this is also someone used. Oh, okay. So AWS bucket creation, bucket July 2020. I think nobody has created this. Let's see. Yeah, fine, good. So I'm not enabling the versioning. The versioning, I'm going to explain what is versioning. And server log, servers access login. For example, whenever someone, if for example, if this bucket someone access, so you can just store, I'm just say the logs will be, you can store the logs, you can get the logs. So I don't want to enable now. Keep value, and as you know, for the tracking purpose. So let's see, we can just do as key name, testing demo bucket. Okay, so and record object level using, so for example, whatever you do, it can be the record objects can be loaded into AWS CloudTrail, so that will be an additional cost. See, for example, CloudTrail, you know, right, like for example, it can be a, you can think it is as a CCTV, like it can capture entire whatever you do on the AWS account. So we don't require as of now to enable it. Okay, and the encryption, as we know, there's the two types. One is AES and AES 256 and KMS. As of now I'm not enabling it. So let's create and permanently allow objects in the bucket to be locked. So in order to enable this permanently allow objects in the bucket to be locked, you have to enable the versioning. So versioning, I'm not enabling it as of now. So I will show you a different what is versioning, what is object lock. And see, CloudWatch requires request metrics, monitor requests in your bucket for additional cost. So same thing, it is like a monitoring who has access, what is, so I'm not enabling it. See, by default it is enabled. I'm going to say the block all public. See, what do you mean by if I click on this, by default it will become a private. Okay, so by default, as I said earlier, by default the buckets are private. So if required, you can make the bucket to public. So as of now, I'm making as a private. Okay, so just click on next and create bucket. Attack. So this is what my bucket, which is created in the Mumbai region. Buckets and not public. July 5th, 2020, 12:43. Okay, so I've created a bucket and let's upload a file. And before uploading a file, you can see the uh, the the tabs like overview of the whatever the bucket which I've created. By default, all these will be there. Properties, permissions, and in the overview you can upload an object, see objects, set object permission, and you can see versioning. As of now, I have not enabled the versioning. Server access logging, static website hosting, object level logging. As you see whatever when we are creating the bucket, we saw all these options. So anytime after creation of the bucket, also you can edit on fly. So this is also we made it, and we made it as a private. And if you go to the management, yes, and management add lifecycle rule, which is by default. For example, if you want to keep the data for some time and it has to be automatically backup, or it has to be deleted, so that you can set here. So as of now I'm not doing this because the class is still not started on this, so I am not doing any lab on the lifecycle and access point, so that also I'm not doing as of now. So basically let's create a file, let's upload a file. So as of now we have created a bucket, and bucket I made it as private. Now I'm uploading the file. So let's upload a file called anything you can upload a file. So let's CLI open console, just upload it. And I'm not clicking on the upload. Let's see what and all options when you upload a file. Okay, when you upload a file, click on next. Okay, see we have storage class, so where we have different types of storage class. So first example, in the course I'm going to use only the standard because that's the free cost. And if you see standard frequently accessed data, so whatever you access frequently, so that is called standard storage class. If you see intelligent tiering, long-lived data with changing or unknown access patterns, so this is per object fees are applied. And standard long-lived frequently accessed, so you can just go through this. So as of now I'm enabling only the standard one, which is frequently enabled. I'm going to say frequently accessed. So I'm not using any of these keys, and just click on next. Just upload. Fine, cool. Okay, so if you see here, so it has, see, so if you open that, you can see object URL. When I just click on new, it will show like this. The XML file does not appear. You know why? Because we made this bucket as a private. Okay, so you can't access that. So yes, so this is what objects I've created, and I made it as a not a public, and this is what the settings whatever, and on a fly you can change anything. So I'm going to create, I'm just going to the file, and if you see here it is standard, and I've uploaded a file, and select this, delete it. So this I'm going to explain about versioning. So delete this, delete. So once I delete, it's gone. I can't restore back because there is no versioning available to restore the file. So let's upload a file, and let's enable the versioning. So I'm gonna import a link. Next, and here you can give the access to any other account. I'm not making public as of now. So if you go to the particular properties, so by default it will be this suspect the creation of the object version for all operations but preserves any existing. So since I was not enabled, so I'm just enabling it and click on save. So the particular bucket I've enabled the versioning. So versioning, you know what it does. Okay, let's do one thing. So when you click on show, so whatever file you have uploaded, when the versioning is enabled, you can see the latest version. So for example, if I hide this, if I upload the same file which I've uploaded the important links, so again I will upload, and if you can see, though I've uploaded the same file, but you can see whatever the latest one which I've uploaded just now, and every versioning as ID. So if you see here, the first which I've uploaded, it was not enabled with versioning, so now I've enabled it. So let's see, for example, I'll upload again the same file, so I'll show you what exactly the difference. So upload it. Okay, I've uploaded again. If you see, there will be two. So the latest one is the one which I've uploaded, but it's the same file. Okay, so what we can do is I will going to delete this action, delete it, and delete it. Simple. So now I want to restore back. Okay, so whatever the name shows a delete marker, which is nothing but I've enabled the provisioning. And as you see, I have uploaded 4 times a same file. So the first file which was not enabled with the versioning, and the second one I have enabled it, and the third one I have enabled it, and fourth one yes, but I have deleted the file. So the latest version which we deleted, that will specify as delete marker, and just click on that and just click go here, delete it and delete. So what it does means it will restore back to the bucket, and this one it is become a latest, and whatever it is you can download this and you can upload again to get the versioning. So when I go hide, and if you see here, the important file has become back, so it has been restored, and the moment I delete again, you can see the difference. So delete it, show there, and see I've deleted it, and again you delete. Once you delete, that goes back to this folder. That means the versioning is absolutely working fine. See, I've uploaded. The one which is not. See, so this is what. Okay, now, as I told you, can we make it as public? Someone can access the public. Yes, go here, permission, just click on edit, just uncheck this. So now it is confirm. I just type as confirm. Yes, I'm confirming that I'm making from public private to public. Okay, so now still it will not work until unless you give the permission. So if you see here, go to the bucket, and if you see, objects can be public now. Okay, so when I open this, when I click on here, I can see the object URL, and if you click on new, so that will not work. Why? Because we have not give the permission to access the file. So only we have made it as public. So to make as public to access a particular file, so go to the permission. Okay, and access control. So here if you see the everyone, okay, what you want to do, just give right access. So this bucket will have public access now. Save it and go to the overview and click again. So just copy the URL, closed. Simple. Okay. No problem. Okay. I'm sorry for that, because my keyboard, I don't have mouse, so yeah, but it is not working. I know it's public. Okay. So I made it as public. Let's see. See, everything is, see, this is what the content of the file. Okay, so it's working fine. Let's click again, so you can see the file content. Let's you can download. So hope you got it. So the properties, so I made it as public. Simple, just make it enable again. So if you save this and just type confirm, you can see the magic now. So now what it does means public access settings updated successfully. So the public can't access this URL again, because I have enabled as a private. Okay, so go here. So now, so delete option, provisioning, and everything you came to know how exactly what we did. I'm sorry, my keys are not okay. So now this also a latest one. If you're seeing here, and whenever in organization by default, by by accidentally if you delete, you can go and restore it back, and ensure that the latest version, the deleted marker, you delete that and you restore it. In case if you don't see delete marker, that means the versioning is not enabled for that particular thing. Okay, let's do that also now. So versioning I'm gonna suspend. So I just suspend is nothing but disabling the versioning. So now let's play. Go back, go to the buckets and just go to file, right click, action, delete it, boom, gone. So since I've enabled already and I've disabled it, I can download. If I delete here, what happens? Let's see. Okay, so since the versioning is enabled, though the versioning is in suspend mode, but the versioning of the file was enabled earlier and the versioning was done for this particular file. So let's create another file so that we can see the changes. Okay, so now as we know that I have not enabled the versioning, so let's delete that. If you see here, see what I did first. When uploaded this particular important link file, I was enabled the versioning. Then later I suspended the versioning and I uploaded a new file and I've deleted, though it has a delete marker. When I delete that marker, the file was not restored. You know why? It was disabled. The versioning was disabled. Okay, so go back to the properties and just enable the versioning and let's see whether we can do again for restoring any of the file after deletion. So go to the add files, upload it. So if you go to show, you can see the latest version of this particular file. Okay, however, whatever you upload, it creates the same file. If you upload, it creates a version, the latest one. Okay, we can delete this, just delete this. So now we have enabled the versioning. Let's see whether we can restore or not. Okay, so go to overview to show it, and if you see the executed files, I will delete it, the delete marker, and I have to see the file back to my bucket. Boom, this is what the bucket does, and versioning if you enable it. Okay, so now I'm going to create another bucket called web hosting. So we can host the static website, right? So I'm going to create a website. So I will host the static website. So basically when you do a static websiting here, you don't require any EC2 instance, nothing. As I told, S3 is serverless. So this is another advantage of using the static website. So my static website hosting, I think nobody has used it. Let's see. Oh, someone used 2020. Boom, nobody's used it. Okay, I'm not enabling the versioning. Let's see later. So click on next. By default, I'll make it as public. Let them use it. When you acknowledge it, it will be accepting. Okay, so to the public. And here make sure that you grant permission. Otherwise, you have to go manually again and you have to set it. So manage system permission, you can just enable it and just click on and click create bucket. Perfect. Oh, it's created. Now the objects are public. Okay, so I've created a static website. So I used one of the HTML file. So if you see, I created a file, HTML file. I just enter the content. Okay, so what we do, so I will go to the file. I will upload that particular HTML file. So I've created already. So this is what I've created, and Shatak. So if you see here, it has the copy. If you open, public, what I made it, what I want to do is not working. So let's open. See, my website is working fine. So this is just the index file which I have created. I have not created any of the site. It's just the HTML file which is working fine. Okay, let's see one more thing. Now I'll go back to the bucket. Okay, as you know that I have not enabled the versioning, right? So so I will just do this. Before that, I will delete this. Definitely you can't restore back because the versioning is not done. So you can't see the file. Where is it? So upload a file. Before uploading a file, okay, there also we can upload it. So HTML file and click on next. So here I can create the rank as public. Click on next. So this I have not enabled before the versioning. So I will enable it now. Let's see whether you can see the latest one. It will not show. Why? Because you have not enabled the versioning before you upload the file. So I will delete this. Whether I can restore it back, let's see. So you can see this because I have enabled it and I have deleted. So if you delete, the folder should contain or not. Perfect, it is working fine. So I have not made it as a public. So static was disabled. Enable it. So here I will make it as index.html. Save it. Bucket hosting is done. So when I go here, when I click here, meantime make it as public. Okay, so now make this new attack. See, this is what the lab. Okay, now I'll go back to, since we know versioning is done, so I will permission, I will make as private. Now if you make private, that should not work, as you know. So just confirm, just type confirm, don't get confused what I have to type. So just click on confirm. So now if I go there, it should not work. See, it's not working because it is private now. So this is not the overview as of now, and I will see you guys on the next class, on the next lab. So whatever you do, basically just delete it to avoid, and you can't delete at one shot, so delete, and when you delete, the bucket name you have to give. So confirm. See, that's not selected correct, so confirm it. So this also copy and paste 00. Attack gone, nothing is there now. So the event and logs, it's pending, so I will show you in the next lab. Thank you, bye bye.